Hey, welcome. We're about to jump into a really big idea today, a fundamental tension that, believe it or not, is shaping your entire inner world. This might just completely change how you think about your emotions, your creativity, heck, even the source of your energy itself.
You know that feeling, right, of being pulled in two different directions at once? That inner conflict, that stress, that push and pull that we all feel every single day? And usually, our first instinct is to try and get rid of it, to solve it.
But what if it isn't a problem at all? What if that very tension is actually the engine of life, the source of all dynamicism, all creative energy? That's the core idea we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so to get our heads around this, we have to look at two primal, sort of metaphorical forces that are always at play inside of us. Don't think of them as literal elements, but more like these universal principles that define our entire experience.
So first up, let's talk about the expanding force, the one that pushes everything outward. We're going to call this force fire.
Now, when we say fire, we're not talking about heat and flames. Think of it as this universal drive to grow, to express yourself, to become more. It's just pure, dynamic, outward-moving energy.
And you can feel this, right? Fire is that impulse you get to speak your truth, to finally start that new project, or just to reach out to a friend. It is the raw, untamed energy of creation, just pushing you to take up more space in the world.
Of course, for every force, there has to be an equal and opposite force, right? So to balance out all that expansive energy of fire, we have the contracting, containing principle. We'll call this one water.
So if fire is all about going out, water is all about going in. It's the principle of drawing energy inward, of giving some kind of form and structure to fire's otherwise raw, chaotic power. Water basically provides the riverbanks for the river of fire. It's that quiet moment of reflection you need before you take action. It's the structure that turns a wild idea into a concrete plan. And it's the stillness that allows for real, deep introspection. Without water, fire is just, well, it's just formless, fleeting energy that burns out.
Okay, so we've got these two fundamental opposing forces, expansion and contraction, fire and water. So what happens when they actually meet? Well, this is where things get really interesting. This is where the tension and all the potential is born. I mean, just picture it for a second, that unstoppable outward push of fire running head-on into the immovable inward pull of water. It's this constant, necessary collision. And here's the key. This tension isn't some accident. It's not a flaw in the system. It is the system. It's the essential friction that generates the heat of our emotional and creative lives.
And this essential tension has a name, the wound of creation. Now I know what you're thinking. That word, wound, sounds pretty jarring, doesn't it? But try not to think of it as something that needs to be healed or fixed. Think of it more like a necessary opening. It's the very birthplace of your feelings, your passions, your art. It is the source of your dynamism as a human being.
But let's be real for a second. Living inside this constant tension, it's challenging. It's messy. It can even be painful sometimes. And our minds, which just love order and predictability, are always looking for a way out.
And that brings us to this really critical quote from the source material. The mind tries to escape this living, breathing tension by retreating into perfect concepts, these ideas about how life should be or how we should feel. And yeah, these ideas are neat, they're orderly, but they're also completely lifeless. And you can see the choice we're constantly facing right here. On one side, you have the dance, the messy, fluid, totally vibrant reality of our inner fire and water clashing. And on the other side, you've got the mind's ideal, a rigid, static, and ultimately stagnant picture perfection that just tries to avoid all conflict. So really, it all comes down to this. Every single day, in almost every moment, we're making a choice. Are we going to engage with the beautiful, sometimes difficult dance of our true nature, or are we going to retreat into the false safety of a frozen, perfect idea? So, I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you actually living the dance? Are you allowing the fire of your expression and the water of your reflection to meet, to clash, and to create that living tension inside of you? Or have you chosen to stagnate, to hide out in some perfect ideal of who you think you should be, avoiding the messy, unpredictable, but ultimately creative dance that is the very source of life itself? As always, the choice is yours.